Hi, it's me, number 10, the Dyatlov Pass incident. In February of 1961, 9 Russian skiers set out to explore the northern Ural Mountains. They were experienced outdoorsmen, but they never should have gone in such dangerous weather conditions. A blizzard hit, and they became lost and disoriented. When their bodies were finally discovered, it was clear that they had died from exposure. But there were other strange things about their deaths, too. 4 of the hikers had been dead for quite a while, but the 5 others had only been dead for 2 days. It made no sense why they had all been frozen to death in temperatures as low as -58 degrees Fahrenheit. And even stranger than that, their tent had been cut open from the inside. Their bodies were scattered around the area, some fully clothed, others not. 2 of them had no heads, 1 was missing an eye. All of their food and most of their equipment was left behind, as if they had abandoned camp in a hurry. It was until years later that Soviet officials admitted that they had actually died from a combination of bad weather, exhaustion, and hypothermia. However, there are still people who believe that something more sinister had happened to the group. Some claim that they had been attacked by an animal, possibly a rare white or gray wolf. Others say that they may have stumbled into the territory of a secret military test site and were killed accidentally by soldiers. There's even a theory that they had been the victims of an extraterrestrial event, although there's absolutely no evidence to support that claim. Number 9. The mystery of the Roman medallion. In 1974, a group of amateur archaeologists in Israel were excavating at the ancient port city of Caesarea Maritima when they unearthed a huge medallion dating back to the 1st century AD. The medallion weighed over 3 pounds and was decorated with a relief sculpture of a woman wearing a crown and holding a scepter. On the back, there was an inscription written in Greek. But after 48 years, the artifact is still shrouded in mystery, because no one can decipher what the inscription says. Since 1974, the medallion has been kept at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. But despite countless attempts by historians and experts in ancient languages, nobody has been able to figure out its message. This might seem like a small mystery, but it could be extremely important. If researchers could just figure out what the inscription said, it would reveal the name of the woman being depicted. She may have been an important historical figure, and her story would help researchers learn so much more about life in Roman-occupied Israel during the time of Jesus. But until someone cracks the code, the medallion will remain a creepy relic from an unknown past. Number 8. The Mammoth Site of Hot Springs. The Mammoth Site in Hot Springs, South Dakota, is home to the densest concentration of woolly mammoth bones in the world. The site covers 23 acres, but it's unclear just how many mammoths died here. Archaeologists know that between 13,600 and 14,000 years ago, this area was a watering hole and a sinkhole. It's possible that a herd of thirsty mammoths came down to drink and then fell into the hole, triggering a stampede. That could explain why so many of their skeletons were found in such close proximity. But there's another explanation that's far creepier. Researchers recently discovered that the sinkhole opened up near a prehistoric Native American burial ground. It's possible that a ritual or ceremony went wrong and caused the ground to collapse. The idea that human sacrifice was involved is pretty dark and disturbing, but there's currently no way to tell whether or not it's true. One thing is certain, though, the Mammoth Site isn't the only place where prehistoric humans may have fallen to their deaths. No. 7. For hundreds of years, locals had told stories about the labyrinth. But it wasn't until 1940 that a team of explorers finally located the entrance. The explorers descended 50 feet into the darkness and discovered an enormous cavern filled with strange blocks of stone. The blocks didn't look like your typical Inca architecture. They were geometrically shaped and fit together perfectly, almost as if they had been made by modern machinery. Researchers think that Puma Punku may have been used as an astronomical observatory, perhaps for religious rituals. But nobody knows for sure what purpose the tunnels served. What makes this place so eerie is that the average person has no idea it exists. There are entrances concealed behind waterfalls and others hidden under ordinary houses. It's possible that the whole system is connected to the royal palaces of the Inca emperors, or it could be part of a much older civilization that predates the Incas by thousands of years. No one knows for sure. No. 6. The Legend of the Lost Dutchman's Gold. Jacob Waltz was a German immigrant who settled in Arizona in the mid-1800s. He lived a simple, life as a farmer and stonemason, but everyone in town knew that he was hiding a secret. Before his death in 1891, Jacob had often boasted about a lost treasure of gold and jewels that was hidden somewhere in the nearby mountains. He claimed to have found it while working as a miner, but then lost the location when he fell off his horse. After Jacob died, his nephew inherited his estate. He spent the next 10 years searching for the lost treasure, but he died in 1903 without ever finding it. Rumors about Jacob's lost gold spread across Arizona, and soon there were thousands of treasure hunters combing through the desert. So far, nobody has ever found any trace of the lost Dutchman's gold, and maybe it doesn't exist at all. It may have just been an elaborate hoax perpetuated by Jacob to get rich. Or perhaps the real story is much darker. Some believe that Jacob stole the gold from Apache graves and that it's cursed. No. 5. The ghost ship of Lake Michigan. The wreck of the Regina L was discovered in 2011 by a group of divers. It was the first shipwreck to be found in 50 years and the second largest freighter ever lost on Lake Michigan. The Regina L had been carrying a cargo of iron ore. When it sank during a storm in 1868, every single crew member perished, leaving their families to wonder what had happened to them. The ship remained missing for 143 years until it was finally located in 280 feet of water. Even though the Regina L had been lost for so long, the divers were still able to find traces of the crew. They discovered shoes, tools, and personal items that suggested the men had been in the final stages of getting ready for bed when the ship sank. Divers also found a bottle filled with letters from the crew members to their loved ones. Many of the letters had never been sent and contained heartbreaking final messages that were meant to be delivered posthumously. No. 4. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. In 1585, a group of English settlers arrived in North Carolina and established the first European colony in North America. But within 2 years, the settlement had been completely abandoned. When English explorer John White returned to Roanoke in 1590, he found that the fort had been deserted and the entire colony was gone. All that was left behind was a single word carved into a post-Croatoan. This bizarre mystery has fascinated historians for centuries. Researchers have proposed all sorts of theories to try and explain what happened to the colonists. Some say they were killed and eaten by the local Native Americans. Others say that they all ran away and joined an existing colony further south. And the most bizarre theory claims that the colonists were abducted by extraterrestrials. What makes this case especially terrifying is that we don't know what really happened. 375 years after the colony was abandoned, researchers are still no closer to solving the mystery. 3. The Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich Manuscript is a medieval book written in an unknown code that has baffled cryptographers for decades. The book contains over 200 pages and is filled with strange illustrations of plants, astrological charts, insects, and naked women. No one knows where it came from, who wrote it, or what it says. One of the strangest things about the manuscript is that it uses a script that resembles shorthand, but it's different from any known form of shorthand. The text also doesn't correspond to any known language. Experts believe that the manuscript may have been written in a secret code or cipher, but so far nobody has been able to crack it. What makes the Voynich manuscript so unnerving is that the secrets contained within could rewrite history. If researchers can one day decode the manuscript, they may discover forgotten knowledge from a bygone era. They could learn about alchemy, astrology, medicine, or other topics that were considered taboo during the Middle Ages. Until then, the Voynich manuscript will continue to be one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. 2. The Mystery of Stonehenge. Stonehenge is one of the most iconic monuments of the ancient world. But despite its fame, nobody knows for sure how it was built or why. We do know that Stonehenge was constructed in 3 phases. First, a circular ditch was dug. Then huge stones were transported from a nearby quarry and arranged in a circle. Finally, smaller stones were used to build trilithons, which are pairs of upright stones with a horizontal beam resting on top. Nobody knows exactly how the builders moved the massive stones, nor do we know what the monument was used for. Some say that Stonehenge was an ancient observatory used for religious ceremonies. Others say that it was used for healing, or that it served as a burial ground. Recent research has shown that Stonehenge was surrounded by a village, and may have been used as a place of worship rather than a temple. but there's still a lot that we don't know about this mysterious landmark. And the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. James Riddle Hoffa was the leader of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, a powerful labor union that represented truck drivers. During his time as president, Hoffa became one of the richest and most influential men in America. But his career was eventually cut short when he was sent to prison for jury tampering and bribery. When he was released in 1964, he tried to regain control of the Teamsters Union, but he had a lot of powerful enemies, including the Mafia and the new union president, Frank Fitzsimmons. On July 30th, 1975, Hoffa disappeared without a trace. His car was found abandoned at a service station, and his body was never recovered. There are plenty of theories about what happened to him. Some say he was killed by the Mafia and buried in a concrete pillar at Giants Stadium. Others say that the CIA was responsible for his disappearance. A few even believe that he faked his own death to escape prosecution. Despite all the theories, Hoffa's remains have never been found, and the case remains unsolved. Thanks for watching. Which of these mysteries freaked you out the most? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. See you soon. Bye.